And at some point, you go into the witness protection program. We'll skip around here. How worried were you after turning state's witness? Were you, and then why, if you were worried, would you leave the witness protection program?
I wasn't worried at all.
And why not?
Because I am a hit guy, and I understood the life, and I understand what's coming. I'm ready for it. I went in the program for one reason. When I got sentenced, the first time my first sentence, I got 5 years. They begged me to go in the program. I didn't want to go in the program. I had money. I didn't want to go in the program. They made the prosecutors call me, and everybody called me, and they said, Sammy, the government's going to look like a complete asshole if you don't go in.
Sorry. What do you care?
Well, I do care, because they did a nice thing. I mean, I did 5 years on multiple murders, so I think that's pretty good. That's why I cared. So I says, okay, I'll give you 1 year. And I went in for 1 year. I lasted 8 months. Some woman recognized me. She was right around me. They wanted me to start over. I wouldn't do it. And I left in 8 months. And I went to Phoenix, Arizona, where my family was. And I left the program. And I stayed in Arizona. I was armed most of the times.
Mm-hmm.
So I was ready for whatever. And maybe that answers the question of how worried I was.
Well, can you walk us through what it's like to go into the witness protection program? Like, they give you a name. Can you get to pick your own name?
Pick
Do
where
they
you
give
go.
you regions to pick from?
They give you can pick regions. Here's what I did when I first got out, when they asked me to do this. And I refused. And then they took me down to Washington. There was big meetings. And I said, I'll give you 1 year under conditions. I'm talking to a guy named Peter Moss. I want to meet with him. I'm going to do a book. I want a vacation with my wife, my ex-wife. And I want to meet somebody from ABC. Diane Sawyer wants to do an interview with me. I want those things to happen. And then I'll go in the program. They did those things. They met all of those requirements. They did change my name from Salvatore Gravano to Jimmy Moran, an Irish name. They moved me. The first place I went was to Texas. I went to Houston, Texas. I was there for about 2 weeks. Something came up, and they said, we have to move you. They don't tell you why, but they have to move me. I went to Dallas, Texas. 2 weeks, they had to move me again. I went to Colorado, Boulder, Colorado. I stayed there. You can't have any family members, any friends, anybody, no contact with your past. There's 8 million rules to this thing.
Do they have agents or personnel that are around you?
U.S. Marshals.
And they're just plain clothes?
Yeah.
And you get X amount assigned to you depending on...
No, they don't really follow. Listen, their office was downtown in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
One day, I didn't go out, and they said, are you afraid to go out? I said, no. I don't know even where to go. I was never here. So one of the marshals says, were you ever to Boulder, Colorado? I said, no. This weekend, you want us to take you there? We'll take you for a ride. This one guy, he took me out there. I loved it. Paths in there, college kids. It's a college town. It was beautiful. Streams, rivers, the whole 9 yards. There was a big sign out there, apartments for rent. And I said, could we go in and look? We went in and looked. When I went in, the guy says, what do you want it? Near the clubhouse? You want it in the woods? Do you want it on the river? The apartment? I said, yeah, let me see the apartment on the river. And it was, you'd walk out the back door. The river came right up to the building. Your patio went out over the river. It was gorgeous. So I took that apartment. It was 45 minutes away from headquarters, and I wanted to get away from headquarters. So it's a pain in the ass. They'd have to call me to come, or they may not find me home. So I stayed there. I met a young college girl. I was 50. And I talked with her. I was out every night. I talked with her. I wound up hanging out with her.
Do they give you a stipend? They give you like $1,200 a month or something, or a credit card?
They give you, I don't even remember what it was. I had a couple of $1 million, so I don't even remember. It was a couple of hundred a month, I think, whatever they gave me. I don't
But
even
you had your own money.
I had my own money. And so I was there. And I went out with her a few times, and I told her some bullshit stories that I wasn't married, I didn't have kids, I didn't have all this, and I was there for a project, a construction project, and I couldn't conceal what it was about because there's competitors who come and buy the land. And I did all that bullshit. And one day I got a call, and a woman said, did you watch Discovery Channel? It was a channel. I don't remember which one it was. I think Discovery Channel. She says, I know who you are. She hung up on me. As soon as she hung up, I knew it was her. So all of a sudden, a couple of days later, I get a call from the marshals, be home, we want to come and see you. I said, okay. It was snowing. They came. I had a car there. I had bought a car. On the windshield of my car and on the door was a couple of letters from her. You lied to me. I love you. All this bullshit. I know who you are. Why did you do this to me? So the marshals said, yeah, look at these letters. They had them. They might still have them. So I said, all right, it doesn't matter, bro. Well, what's the matter? He says, you have to start over again because she knows who you are. We want you to go to Seattle, Washington. We're going to change your name again, and we're going to start over. No, fuck that. I'm not doing that. I told you a year. I'm in 8 months. I'm not doing it.
Do they pick regions where they have bases, offices, or do they look for the sort of least amount of mafiosa types? Or how do they base where they put you?
They have offices in different states, all over the United States. They do have offices all over the place. U.S. Marshals are everywhere. It's a special group that handles these people. They know, like when they moved me in Texas, they must have had people there and afraid I would bunk into them. Not a threat. They probably had other witnesses there, and they didn't want us to bunk into one another. So that's probably why they met.
You must have stuck out a little bit in places like Houston and Dallas. I mean, there's not a lot of guys like you walking around.
Why? What makes you think I would
I don't know.
stick
Just
out?
feel like you're a certain type of guy. And there's fewer of those types of guys. In
I look
Houston.
just like you. We got the same haircut.
That's a good point. Actually.
Maybe the accent.
Perhaps
The accent?
certain things about you.
Could be the pinky
I
ring.
had a New York accent. Maybe the pinky ring. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little on the short side and I talk rough. I don't know.
So after 8
She
months,
fell in love with me, Buck.
I know. I'm not disputing that. I'm
So what the
simply
fuck?
saying.
She didn't run away.
you said after 8 months, I'm out.
I'm out. I says, I'm not going. I gave you 8 months. I'll give you the other 4 months, but I'm not starting over. They said, you have to. That's the rule. And I said, fuck it. Give me the paper. I quit. I'm out.
Do they, so now you're on your own. You're kind of in charge of yourself after you leave the program.
Yes, and
right?
I went back to Arizona, and I'm on my own.
Any credible threats? See anything? Any attempts?
Well, at the end, here's what happened. When I first got to Arizona, Joe Bonanno was still alive, the original Joe Bonanno. He was sitting in a meeting in Tucson, Arizona. Him, his son Salvatore Bonanno, who was the Gonzietta family when they were in New York, and another maid guy. The maid guy was a CI, a confidential informant. He was taping this conversation. Joe Bonanno told his son, I hear this Sammy the Bull came down in Arizona. Make an appointment, I want to talk with him. Salvatore Bonanno said, listen, fuck him. He's a rat. What do you want to talk with him for? And Joe Bonanno says, you don't want to learn. This guy is dangerous. If he wants to take over Arizona, some of us, maybe us, are going to be in a trunk, and he's going to push. So they sent somebody to talk to me about an appointment. In the meantime, that guy who was wired, the FBI in Arizona knew about this conversation. And they were getting in touch with the New York FBI. When the guy came to talk to me about this meeting, I told him, I have the utmost respect for the old man. I will meet with him on my terms if he wants to talk to me. And he told me the conversation. So I said, he has nothing to worry about. I have no interest in taking over Arizona. I have no interest in killing anybody. All I want is to be left alone. 1, 2, nobody in my family fucked with. Or I will go on the warpath.
And a couple of college-age girls, maybe.
Maybe. But anyway, he sent word back. He said, tell Sammy I appreciate the message. Then there's no need for a meeting. And matter of fact, if anybody bothers him, we're in his circle. Let me know, and I'll help him. We didn't meet. A day after that, the FBI from New York got in touch with me and told me, were you going to meet with Joe Bonanno? Yeah. You're on parole. Yeah, so what? But it's a violation if you would meet with him. Why were you going to meet with him? And I told them the story. They knew the story from the Arizona FBI, so they just dropped it, left it alone. That's how I started back in there. And then a whole bunch of things happened. It's ecstasy story.